Yes. In April 2000, sorry, in April 1955, McDonald Bridge was opened to traffic. And just after 15 years, the Mackay Bridge was opened for the traffic to accommodate the demand of the growing community of Halifax and the Dartmouth. So now, in an average week days, we have more than 100,000 crossing for these two bridges. So this is really critical infrastructure for this regional transportation network. So now we are doing the Mackay feasibility study to determine the optimal method of rehabilitate the existing bridge structure that we can extend the life by 75 years, or replace this existing bridge with the new bridge to extend the life of 100 years. So the question is that why we are doing this study now? And again, this is not big lift 2. This is not something that we are going to implement within short period of time, like 3 to 5 years. This is part of our long-term planning, which is 15 to 25 years. And I think you will understand that Mackay is only 15 years younger than McDonald. And we have been doing the Big Lift project last 3 years. So as a thumb rule, it indicates that we have to do something for the Mackay in near future, means 15 to 20 years. And based on our experience for the Big Lift project, what we learned, we actually started the planning and design for the Big Lift project in 2009, and we are still doing the project. It means the 10 years. So I think, and we think, this is the right time to know what is the future of the Mackay Bridge. If it is a replacement like redecking, we need to start the planning. If it is a new bridge, it's a big deal. So that's the reason we are doing these things, and we are fortunate that the steering committee of this project consists of members from NSTIR, HRM, and HHB. So we are conducting this study, and the steering committee will review and come up with some outcomes. So as I said, that we have been dealing with 100,000 vehicles every day. So last 1 decade, we have been conducting other transportation study. In 2014, we conducted a one-way tolling study to see is there any way that we can manage the demand in a more efficient way. In 2010, we did a McDonald corridor traffic study or assessment that was actually done as part of the Big Lift project in the redecking, because we wanted to know, is there any benefit to add another lane on the McDonald, which is an opportunity to do this work during the redecking project. That's why we did that corridor traffic assessment. Fortunately or unfortunately, the result was that there will be no benefit to add another lane to the McDonald Bridge without making a significant improvement in the approaches. 2008, we did value pricing for the traffic demand management. 2008, we did cross-harbour traffic need assessment to see when we will need the third crossing for this city. 2005, we conduct bridge capacity study. 2005, we did Mackay Bridge twinning study. So Mackay is a cable suspension bridge. It means that the main deck is supporting from the main cable, which is supported by the tower and which is anchored to each side of the harbor. This is 740 meter long suspension bridge. I will talk about the cable stayed bridge a little bit later, but the cable stayed and the main cable suspension bridge is different, because for the cable stayed bridge is supporting from the tower. It has no main cable anchored to the ground. That's the main difference between a cable stayed and the suspension bridge. So the main challenges and issues and opportunity for these projects is structural constraint. So the Mackay, when it was built in 1970, it was built with the economical design. It means that it does not have reserve capacity for future change or upgrade or improvement. We have real issue with the capacity. And now the main component of this bridge is almost nearing to the end of the life. Also, few of the component is at or near the capacity. So one of the things we are considering that the way we are doing the redecking project for the McDonald is the redecking may not be an option for Mackay because we do not have the reserve capacity. If we were to change the deck, the new deck will be heavier than the current deck system. Then we need to install a new set of cable. Also, we need to strengthen the tower, which would not be a cost-effective approach. We may prefer to build a new bridge. That's the one challenge. Also, the traffic barriers and the anchor forces does not meet the current NCHRP test criteria. We also need to consider how we can improve the navigation clearance. As you know, McDonald is raised by 2.1 meter. So now in the past, Mackay was actually higher than McDonald. Now we raised the McDonald, and now Mackay is 1 meter lower than McDonald. So when we will do anything for the Mackay, there will be a consideration that we will raise this height by certain meter. We also need improved access system that we can do the inspection and maintenance. We also considering to have a reserve lane in each direction that we can use for the emergency situation or transit lane or HOV lane. These are one of the considerations we are considering for rehabilitate or replacement. Also, when we rehabilitate, we must consider to add active transportation lane, which is sidewalk and bikeway that we do not have for the Mackay, we have for the McDonald. Another challenge will be to maintain the traffic during the construction, because this is one of the most important truck route from port to the Burnside Industrial Park. The existing structure is situated in a narrow transportation corridor, so both sides have sensitive communities, and if we need to consider to build a new bridge, it will be challenging which side the bridge will be, north or south. If we consider north, we have issue with the Dartmouth side. If we will consider to build the new bridge in the south side of the existing bridge, we will have issue in the Halifax side. Another challenge will be alignment to this new structure to the existing approaches. So there are a lot of challenges. So now I will talk a little bit about transportation and traffic. So refer to 2005 bridge capacity study. It shows that McDonald has a capacity like peak hour lane capacity is 1400 to 1500. Mackay is 1700 to 1800. And also if you see the chart, that also shows what is our volume versus capacity ratio. Based on 2004 peak hour highest traffic count, you can see the Mackay is operate at 0.94 to 1. It means that during the peak hour, we operate Mackay at capacity. So if any breakdown happen, we have some issue. Also, you can see the table that shows McDonald and Mackay actually share 15% of the road access to the Halifax Peninsula. You can see the 3 and 4 lanes, which is McDonald carries 90% and Mackay Bridge carry 31% of the traffic to the peninsula. Just I said that refer to 2004 study, we are at capacity. It means that we do not have capacity during the peak hour. But during the redecking project, which was between 2015 to 2017, most of the bridge closure was that time, we reviewed interesting observation. I would like to show you here, which is, this is the last 10 years traffic counts for each bridges from 2008 to 2017, you can see that the total volume has not been changed from 2004 to 2017. But if you see the number in 2015, 3.5 million traffic shifted from McDonald to Mackay. And 2016, another 1.5 million traffic shifted from McDonald to Mackay. So almost 5 million more traffic was on the Mackay. Now we are almost end of the project, so you can see 2017, 1.4 million traffic shift back to the McDonald. It's not all back, because still people think that there will be an interruption, why bother use Mackay? And another interesting thing, if you see this simple graph that shows when we have drop volume in the McDonald, it actually get on the Mackay. It also means that these are the two most efficient routes that the traffic will use. Doesn't matter that you have interruption or not, because this is the most efficient way to cross the harbor. So during this big lift project, we actually did not lose any traffic during the closure. It was accommodated by Mackay. So it shows that we have capacity. So the three major options that we are considering under this feasibility study: number one, rehabilitate the existing structure as it is. It means the same as redecking project. We will not have anything new. We will replace the deck system as we are doing for the McDonald. Option two is rehabilitate and widening the structure. It means that we will have a new deck system with 3 and 3, 6 lanes, and also adding active transportation lane, bikeway and sidewalk for the new structure. The third option is replacement of the existing bridge. If the rehabilitation is not a feasible option, then we need to build a bridge. And when we will build the bridge, because we are building this bridge for 100 years, from 15 years from now, so we are considering to have 3 lanes each direction. Again, the third lane will be an emergency lane reserved for the emergency or HOV or transit, and active transportation lane like bikeway and sidewalk. But these are the major 3. But under each category, we have some sub options that I will talk about now. So this is the option 1, which is rehabilitate at the existing. So you see there is no change. The option 2 says that redecking with the 80 lane in each cantilever 80 active transportation lane will be added. Option 2B is twinning the structure. It means that we will have the existing structure, tower and main cable will be there. We will have new deck system with 3 lanes and 1 lane for the one sidewalk or bikeway. It means that we are reducing 4 lane to 3 lane, which will give us the capacity, reserve capacity, and we will build another bridge side with 3 lane and a bikeway or sidewalk at the side. That's the option 2B. This is the option 3, where we are considering if it is required to build a cable stayed bridge. So now you can see the difference between cable stayed and suspension bridge. So the 2 bridges we have here, this is cable suspension bridge. But we may consider to build a cable stayed bridge. Why? Because this is more structurally efficient structure and aesthetically pleasant, we believe. So for the new bridge, we also consider another option to build the bridge with a longer span length, which is 800 meters. Then we do not need to build the main tower, Dartmouth main tower, which is in the harbor now. We can build it in the land. That will increase the horizontal clearance of the navigation channel. That's the option 2 under the new bridge. Under this new bridge, we also consider that not only the cable stay, we may consider to build a similar type of suspension bridge with the similar configuration. It means that one is shorter span, the Dartmouth tower will be in the water, and another option will be out of water. So this total 7 option has been evaluated against 30 different criteria. You can see the list, it's a big list. I will not go through all these criteria, but the main 5 criteria is cost, features, risk, opportunities, and last one is social implication. So the cost is divided into 3: construction cost, HSB's design and management cost, and the life cycle maintenance cost. Under features, we have, I need to see that picture. So under feature is like traffic lane, active transportation, and all this other thing under this. And doing this evaluation, at the end, we will come up with the number. So each and every category has some importance factor or weight value. Like cost has 50, and risk has 10, and all these things has a pre-established weight value or importance factor. Then we will do the math, come up with the number, and say that this is the number 1 rank based on the scoring. This is the number 2 and number 3, number 4, and based on this evaluation outcome, we will do a conceptual design for the best 2 options. That's the plan. Again, we are early stage now. We just received the draft report. We have been reviewing these things, and I believe that end of July, we will finish this study, and I will be able to share more information, what would be the future for the Mackay. I want to acknowledge a few of the consultants that has been working with HSB on this project and previous study, COI North America. Oh, first I would like to thank Halifax Harbour Bridges because they allowed me to talk and share some information here. I cannot forget, okay? So thanks to Halifax Harbour Bridges, then COI North America, CBCL Limited, and Delphi MRC. I think now they are merged with WSP. Thank you. If you have any question, I would like to answer, if I can. Within the deal. Yeah.
Any questions for Hassan?
I was just curious to know if part of the study will look at new technologies with ALPR cameras and removing the tolls on the Mackay Bridge.
This is part of the consideration. Actually, last 2014, we did a study to explore the future tolling methodology for the Mackay, and one of the recommendations is considering all electronic tolling. So this year, now we issued another RFP to retain another consultant, it is in the market now, to develop a business model for us. Because we cannot make this type of decision until it has been approved by Utility and Review Board. So now we are going to retain a consultant to develop a business case for us to see that we will be in neutral revenue position. It will not give us any loss in our revenue, or we are not making money by doing this, and how we will compensate the cost. And that will be part of the outcome for this study. So we are considering this option now.
My observation is that it's very unusual to have a facility like this with no separation between the 2 directions of lanes. I notice your new bridge does have a median barrier. I'm wondering if the rehabilitation option, if there's an ability to put a median separation in that.
That's a very good question. We always like to have a median separation for traffic safety. But as I say, the Mackay was built really in an economical way, so we do not have any reserve capacity. Just last year, we did a small study to see, is there any way that we can install some safety barrier to protect some disturbed health issue persons to make the decision to jump from the bridge. But the study outcomes is come that we cannot add any load to this structure unless we reduce some dead load from somewhere. So addition of concrete barrier or separation type like that, we cannot accommodate these things for current condition. But for the rehabilitation, if we go for the retaking project, we will consider that option, and it has been considered under this study as well. Tasso.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised with your graph showing capacity that, when the bridge was closed, essentially all trips shifted to Mackay Bridge, because quite frankly, that's the only reasonable option you have, right? Otherwise, you have to go around the Bedford base,
Yes.
which is not an option. I guess especially for the guests that are from out of town, your closures occurred during the weekend and
Overnight.
So you already have excess capacity on the bridge, so it's easy to handle that capacity. But on those two occasions where you're supposed to open up at 5:30 in the morning, you didn't open up till like 10, 11 o'clock, we had, for lack of a better word, traffic mayhem on the darkest side in the morning. So closing a Mackay Bridge for this project is not an option. You have to maintain the bridge no matter what option is chosen.
I think we never had the option for McDonald or Mackay to close this bridge and do the retaking or anything. Bridge needs to be closed, it needs to be open during the construction. Which option will go, retaking or a new bridge? The existing bridge will remain open during the weekdays, for sure. Our life will be really easy if we can do that. Close the bridge and build a new one, oh my God. I'll be so happy. But unfortunately, I do not have that happiness. Yeah. Yes.
So on your graph, you're showing total trips between the two bridges and then a roll-up total. 2011, 2012, 2013, they almost look like a gradual decline in volumes. Were there other construction or
There was some
developments happening
significant
in the area?
construction on that 3 years, because one of our plan was to maintain Mackay in advance, that during the retaking project, we will not have any interruption of the Mackay. We cannot afford that. So in 2013 to 15, actually not 2013, 2011 to 2014, we did most of our work in advance for the Mackay, that we can operate the Mackay in full service during the retaking project. That's the one reason. Another reason we identified, it also depends on your winter, how harsh your winter is, how many snow days. If you have 5 or 6 snow days, 500 vehicle is gone, because 100,000 in a day. So these are also in that math. Again, I just want to mention another one thing, because what I'm showing here, this is only capacity, but that does not mean that we provide the same level of service when you have, more 5 million vehicle in Mackay versus the normal time. That's another consideration, to have a reserve lane to manage the demand for this type of construction interruption or other thing. That's the reason. Yes?
How would a new bridge option affect the landing point in North Halifax in terms of residents and
Yeah,
existing infrastructure?
Yes, that I say, if we consider to have I know I do not have that much time, but I would like to. If you see this layout, if we consider to have a bridge on the north side, you can see the Dartmouth, all the federal building will be affected. If we consider to have this bridge on the south side, then Halifax residential area will be affected, which is more difficult than deal with the federal, okay? So at this point, again, we have no result yet, but based on our previous study and the current study up to date, possible option is to build the bridge on the north side in this layout. But again, we need to deal with the federal, how we can gain access and land to build this bridge in the north side without affecting residential area in the Halifax side. That's the only reason we are considering to build this bridge in the north side.
Has there been any consultation with African Nova Scotia groups in relation to Africville?
Not yet.
But there will
That would be
the next
coming,
stage.
yeah, there will be a, as I said, this is our part of our long-term planning, 15 to 25 years. But when we will make the decision, okay, this is the outcome that we need to build a bridge, then there will be a long design and other study, and there will be a series of public consultation before we actually make the decision.
Including consultation on changes to the approaches.
Definitely, yes. Robin?
Okay, let's make this one the last
You talked
question.
about the active transportation lanes in Mackay at the starting of the presentation. Do you think it's feasible, depending on the vicinity of the two sides of the Mackay Bridge, it is feasible to build or install the active transportation lanes in Mackay Bridge?
That's the part of the plan. Like, we are considering three options. One is redeck as it is without having nothing. The second option is redecking with adding active transportation lane. So if we are going to redeck, our first preference that there will be must active transportation lane for the redecking or the new bridge. That's for sure.
You guys doing study on active transportation lanes for the Mackay Bridge?
Not yet. Again, at this point, I do not know about what is the demand due to the demography for the bridge. But you have to consider we are building these things for 100 years. So that's why I think it's always better to add your active transportation to promote the right share. So that's our commitment that if we will do anything, there will be active transportation lane for the Mackay. Thank you.
Thanks, Hassan.